2021 candidate for governor of Virginia. And let me get this started like I normally do. God is good all the time. Once again, I repeat that God is good all the time. It's a very cold morning, so I'm dressed extra warm and I'm excited about tomorrow. Definitely am. I'm planning on a Trump victory, a Gay victory, Taylor, Collick, Benjamin, Good, and many more, Whitman as well. But also, tomorrow, we also find out whether we was tough enough, whether what we campaigned on resonated. And we also find out did China influence the election. And also at the time period, we find out what 2021 is going to look like. And right now, we are in a situation of alarm, a red alert, in other words. So today, we must do everything to win. That means it's time to make those phone calls. It's time to check with your friends, whether they on Facebook or on other social media platforms, and find out where they stand, find out how they voted. We got to do that extra type of work just to make sure we impact the races that we need to impact. Now, as far as what's going on now, the first message I have is for Democrats. Because tomorrow, many of you going to be in that line like y'all been in the lines before. And I spoke to plenty of y'all. Spoke to plenty of you independents that didn't even know anything about the candidates on the ballot. Didn't know their views, didn't know their positions, didn't know a damn thing. That's shameful. Very shameful with so much on the line right now. The way the future for our children would be is based off of this election, and the ramifications couldn't be more severe. And for those to say that they didn't pay attention but they sitting in line trying to make up their mind at the last minute, that's ridiculous. We shouldn't even have races like this where people don't even know what the hell they voted for, and then want to complain when things don't work out their way and they don't see anything about their life changing. That is the consequence, people. The consequence. President Trump has done a tremendous job of making sure we all start paying attention to our government and how it's ran. It's been ran into the damn slums. And right now we are seeing the results of it all over America in every single household. And when the number one thing I tell people, stop lying for Democrats. Stop lying for Obama. Stop lying for Biden. Stop lying for Harris. Stop lying for Pelosi. Stop lying for all of these motherfuckers. There's no other way for me to say it. Stop lying and stop making up excuses. After a while, you have to say to yourself, we need change. But we need change that is responsible and accountable for America and won't back down or make excuses for their decisions and how it affects us all. And then run and hide whenever it comes down to being told from the public how people feel. And I'm going to say this. When Obama got reelected, he shouldn't have gotten reelected. We had a rhino, Romney. And that led to some bad decisions and consequences. And Romney may have not been no better, but on paper, he was damn sure better than Obama. But the thing is, we found out throughout the long run that Romney wasn't no damn good for nobody just as much as Obama. But if people would have been paying attention to the issues and seeing how it applies to them, they would have known that. One of the things I'm going to tell people when voting tomorrow, because this is where it comes to a conclusion. Stop lying to yourself. That's the number one thing, Democrats. Stop lying to yourself. You know that Biden is a piece of shit. You know getting well Biden has been the hypocrisy of his party. And he represents that party very well. Everything he said about President Trump, he was doing. And the thing is, he's so old, he forgot about it. And then once he gets reminded, then all of a sudden you don't hear from Biden anytime during that time period. They say take a couple of days off, Biden, because you're screwing things up the more you talk. No, we want you to talk. We want you to tell us who you really are. And what we have all found out is that you have been giving up concessions to foreigners, other countries, and more at the expense of America, and you was hoping the dirt and the details never came out. That laptop said a lot, didn't it, people? It did. And what I'm trying to figure out from Democrats after a while, stop lying to yourself. After a while, you have to start saying, I must be accountable and responsible with my vote to make sure pieces of shit like that does not run our government. And the real reason why they have a problem with President Trump is because of the same countries that was benefiting the Bidens and Obamas and their family are the same countries that President Trump is not playing their games with. That lets you know who's really bought off. President Trump is doing this job for free. Biden was doing the job for everything he can get, lining his pockets. The old Democratic strategy is we are the good old boys, but we just don't say it publicly. Guess what? It came out publicly. The problem is at this time period, they want to hide from it. That's why they can't say any reason to really vote for Biden other than the fact to say a vote for Biden is a way of saying hate Trump. That's all it is. Emotional decisions. That's not why you vote for somebody because of the lesser of the two evils. You match them up and compare them directly, and you say to yourself, who has done more? 47 years of Biden or 3 years of President Trump? Whether you like him or not, you have been able to feel President Trump's policies. It has put more money in your pocket. It has made sure that the economy has been stable before China. And it was going great until the Democrats screwed it up like they normally do. And you can see that from every liberal city and liberal state across this country and the conditions that it's in. Do you want that to really be the entirety of America, where you cannot retire because the area in which you were looking to retire has become a Democratic slum, and now you can't even walk out on the streets and you can't do it in peace because Democrats have told everybody they hate you just because you breathe in the same air that they do? And that's what's going on right now, and they are promoting it. And the fact is, we got to stop lying to ourselves. What's going on in America? They're destroying your community. They're destroying your homes. They are taking away everything you work for and forcing you not to be able to go to work and make a living. And then when it comes down to them being held accountable for their decisions, they have left you strung out to dry. Those governors and those local officials are responsible for the mess that you're in, not President Trump. President Trump wanted the country open up and back to normal over this China situation. You can't blame him. A lot of y'all have lost your cars, You have lost the roof over your head. Family is stepping up to help you out, but they're taking a sacrifice too. And when it came down to making sure you had all of these things that you worked hard for and earned, then they said there's nothing that they could do. They'll help you out after the election, but you getting kicked out of your house right now. That's because they don't care. All you are is a vote. That's why I'm saying stop lying to yourself. That's all you are. And after they get that vote, they're going to go back to doing what they've been doing, and you're going to see your life get worse, not better. And that's a fact. And it's shameful that people continue to go to the ballot box and vote for their own destruction. Even though their life is in chaos and shambles right now, they are going to the polls to vote for the Democratic Party, and they live in a Democratic city. They see the crime rate is still high as hell. They still see it hard to find work and opportunity. And they still are up there like damn zombies trying to vote for what their emotions say. And most of them can't even tell you why they are voting Democrat, but they're damn sure tell you they don't like Trump. Is that it? There's so many people who I don't like their personalities, but I respect, because when it comes down to it, they're strong enough to make a decision and deal with the consequences of it. And they don't care about being politically correct, which I don't. I absolutely have no care to be politically correct when my country is on the line, and screw others who don't care about its feelings. That's why I'm telling people, stop lying to yourself. I don't care whether it's Democrat or Republican. Stop lying to yourself. You have to have a core. It is your responsibility, like it is every single American's responsibility, to make the best decision on moving this country forward and making sure we have the freedoms and the constitutional rights that our forefathers and our men and women in uniform and all of those who know what a fight looks like, whether here or abroad, know that their fight meant something. Their blood that was shed and the price that they paid meant something to keeping the fundamentals and the freedoms in which they was told was the reason that they was fighting for. That's why I'm trying to tell people, stop lying to yourself. Period. Don't change who you are for a candidate at all. Is a candidate is a piece of shit, don't vote for that piece of shit. Vote for the best candidate, regardless of their personality, that will do what they say that they will do. That's what Americans all over this country, that's what Virginians all over this state and great Commonwealth is looking for. Period. Because they've been lied to enough. They've been disappointed enough. If this was the year of a pandemic, it was a pandemic of leadership, not a pandemic from COVID. And that's why I'm telling people, stop lying to yourself. And that's the reason why your life hasn't changed. Because you keep lying to yourself and making up. And once you start making up stuff, that means you have no reason to keep yourself in the same situation. Because you got to make up a reason to stay in the screwed up locality ran by Democrats. You got to make up an excuse to continue the corruption and the good old boy system or whatever it may be. That lying to yourself is the reason why that happened. So that's why I tell people, when I switch to the Republican Party, you got to start saying to yourself, stop lying to yourself. Stop lying for the fact that they are trying to take away your faith and your church that you were brought up in. Stop lying to yourself and saying pedophilia is a disease and it's okay for adults to prey on your children. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself that you're okay knowing that the schools is teaching your kids to be porn stars. That's Democratic bullshit. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself about history being taken away because you think it's going to move us forward. No, history, American history, is exactly why America is America today. And it is because of people in all walks of life and backgrounds that have fought their battles and their wars here in this country or abroad. And they made sure that we are considered the best nation on the entire earth. That's why history is so important. Because it's going to come a time when they go after your history if you continue in this direction. And then it ain't going to be no history left. And they already going after your right of free speech to censor what you have to say. Censor the truth. Censor exactly the realities of what your family and your ancestors went through to make a way for you to be here today. Stop lying to yourself and thinking taking away somebody's history isn't going to come back for your history. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself that you feel like paying out more money and you are on minimum wage. Stop lying to yourself. Having increases in taxes and more to fund projects that has nothing to do with you and your household. Stop lying to yourself. And the Republican Party is only trying to make sure you keep more money in your pocket and more that you earn. So stop lying to yourself. Paying more into the government makes you dependent on the government, not independent of the government. Stop lying to yourself. How's your family supposed to break the glass ceiling of wealth if you continuing to allow that glass to be cemented in your own bullshit? Stop lying to yourself. Stop it. It ain't about the education. It's about the reality and the experience. There's plenty of people with street smarts and dumb as hell when it comes down to having book smarts. And the same is in the reverse. But you have experience. And your experience teaches you that you are lying to yourself if you keep going into this direction. All because you are emotional, instead of worrying about the fact of you and your family and what is in the best interest of them. Not your emotions, not your ego, and not anything else other than that. The decisions is clear here. It is. But so many of y'all just continue to vote for the same thing. And those same politicians are just as corrupt as the next one and line their pockets just as the next one. That's why we need term limits. We need younger, fresher blood that is not intimidated by the mob and is willing to speak truth to power. But not just that. It comes a time where action has to be the goal, not the option. That's why I'm telling people right now. Stop lying to yourself. You know your situation better than anybody else. You know the last time you voted, did it change anything? Or did you see yourself going back and forth to city halls or to your representatives saying exactly what in the hell is going on because this isn't what you promised us? That's why I tell people, stop lying to yourself. Cut it out. Because right now, it seems like the only time people take things serious is when it impacts their household and it affects them. And what you're seeing right now is your own state governments that's affecting you, that democratically controlled, that's shut down. But the other states that ain't shut down is on back to business, and they are taking care of themselves and making situations better for all sides. Here in Virginia, we are shut down to the point that 700 plus businesses are closing down. And many of you that are looking to be entrepreneurs here in Virginia, have your own mom and pop stores or whatever it may be, that reality is sinking further in the hole of never happening if you continue in this direction. It only but so much credit that the state can take until it becomes bankrupt. And that's what we are trying to avoid here. We should have never shut down, but like I said, cowards in leadership did. And all of those who are responsible are those in state government and those in your local government that was so cowardly that they put a political party above the very citizens that they serve. It's inexcusable, and even told you that we'll take away those who try to fight and protect you by defunding the police. In the areas of high crime levels is where this conversation is going. Who's going to be there to protect your family when you can't because you decided to vote against that? That's the reality of what we are facing tomorrow, and that's all on the line right now. Will social workers deal with our emotional struggle when our children is raped, murdered, and slaughtered by the brutality of the streets? That's a reality because that was an option already spoke by the Democrats. And they tend to make sure they go along that way because no fool would be stupid enough to even mention it, let alone discuss it, unless they are telling you we are at that point. So tomorrow, don't worry about emotions or people's personalities. Vote for what you know is in the best interest of this country. The options have been laid out. We wish we could have had better ones. That's a fact. In a lot of these different districts and in a lot of these different candidates. But people chose a name over a patriot. And the very few patriots that's on the ballot, they have been long ignored by the political establishment. And that's why we are at this point. We abandoned our fight for Virginia, not just by 33 seats. We abandoned our fight for exactly what Virginia is all about. Virginia is the home and the model of the nation. It is where the whole country looks at when it comes down to guidance and responsibility and accountability. And now we are ignored because of a laughable and foolish governor that only cares about himself but doesn't care about his own people. And he's a Democrat. And look at your situation, look at your bills. Look at how your life has changed over this time. And that should be clear. That should be exactly what you're voting to make sure it isn't repeated again. And that decision is to say, stop lying to yourself. Stop being emotional. And vote for the best interest of this country. And if you're voting tomorrow, you should only be voting Republican. Red wave down the line. Because the Democrats is responsible here in Virginia for your situation. Unemployment, Democrats is responsible. Your business, Democrats are responsible. Who you are, Democrats are responsible. God bless America, and you bless yourself by voting in the best interest of this country. God bless America.